Alright, this is Professor Steve back for part 2 of this class introductions video series. So we just want to leave off where we started, start where we left off, and we're going with into participation. Participation is a huge part of the GCU online experience, where you're needing to participate in discussion forums, replying to other students' posts, things of that effect. So we want to make sure that you guys are doing that correctly and often. So as a refresher, you're required to do two initial discussion question responses. The first one is due by Wednesday. The second one is due by Friday. Those are labeled DQ1, DQ2. That you'll have to make sure you do that. When you do those responses, they need to be between, at least five sentences long. Could be however long it needs to be to match what you're responding to, but generally speaking, it needs to be at least 5 sentences long. If it's less than 5, it gets some points deducted for not meeting that requirement. We're looking for an in-depth analysis of the question, providing some good feedback on that type of thing. As it relates to participation throughout the week, it's required for you to respond to other students' posts. If you can respond to my posts, if I respond to yours, all that equates to grades towards participation. In all of my classes, each week I provide additional alternate topics into the discussion area. They'll be usually labeled like week 1, alternate topic number 1, number 2, number 3, that type of thing. So you can respond to those, and those count directly towards participation, not the initial DQ response. So really, if you reply to all 3 of those that I put, or 2 or 3 that I put out there, that's 2 to 3 of the required 6 that you have to have for the week. As far as the requirement there, like I said, it is 6. Essentially, it equates to 3 days, 2 posts per day. You will, if you get your 6, but you only post on 2 different days, then you're not going to get the full points, because we're wanting to do, responding often, and doing that over a number of days. So it would be better for you to do 6 days and 1 post a day than 2 days and 6 posts total, so 3 per each of those days. That would be much better. So that's what we're looking for, at least 6 posts a day. You don't have to stop at 6. You can go to, I've had some people do 10, 15 different responses, and it's all about creating a community out in the forum to respond to each other, providing feedback. We want to make sure, though, that we're doing it in a friendly way. Don't, persecute someone for, liking Windows over Linux or something to that effect. So let's keep it sociable and have some good conversations out there. When I do post your grades for each assignment, generally speaking, I provide some kind of feedback on each of those, whether that be just words in the grade area to say, hey, you did a great job, whatever. Some assignments I'll have to correct your grammar, or provide some additional feedback, like in the other the video here. Like I said, the references, this was out here, such like that, and I'll make a comment to say, hey, please make sure the references and title are on the last page of the document by themselves. Something like that. So I have little comments and things like that, and I'll return those documents to you. So make sure that you're keeping an eye on your grades, specifically when I return documents, so you can see what things I've adjusted. I can't tell you how many times that students don't review those, and then there'll be 3, 4, 5 weeks in, and they're still doing the same thing. They're still not putting references on the last page. They're still not spelling out their acronyms. They're not doing things like grammar checks. Make sure you do your grammar checks. I know we all think we're impervious to this, but in Word, just go to the Review tab and hit Spelling and Grammar, and it'll say Spelling and Grammar checks complete. So make sure you're going through those, because that's the easiest way for you to lose points. Is if you don't do your grammar check, you don't have words spelled out, things like that. Again, I'm not terribly concerned with that, but I want to get in the good habits here of making sure your grammar and spelling is done correctly, so that when you go to a non-IT class and you actually have to write those things, that everything's all lining up. And then that also funnels into what happens in the real world. Well, I can tell you for sure that you don't want to be making spelling and grammar changes when you're emailing the CEO of the company. So make sure that we're doing the right thing by checking our spelling, checking our grammar, make sure everything sounds right. And it's not a bad thing for you to say, hey, go up to your spouse or your mother, father type of thing and say, hey, I have this assignment I'm getting ready to turn in. I want to make sure it sounds right. Can you proofread it for me? That's perfectly fine. They might not understand the content of it, but they can at least go through and say, well, this doesn't sound right. Maybe you're missing a couple commas or something like that. So that kind of covers the viewing the return documents. ITT 270, hoping it didn't time me out, and it did, unfortunately. What I want to do, oops, wrong class. Under the announcements here, I always post, something, and yours may look different than mine, but I always post this assignment and corrections and clarifications. In ITT 270, there was an issue where the labs or the assignments were written on an old version of Packet Tracer, and Packet Tracer is, like I said, the application like this that we use to diagram your switches, routers, servers, configurations, and make sure that the network kind of works. But these assignments that are initially posted in the assignments section, tasks, assignments type of thing, they were written in an old version of Packet Tracer, and the questions accordingly were written for that old as well. However, new versions of Packet Tracer have different devices in it. Maybe some of those devices that were in the previous version aren't available anymore. So I had to rewrite the labs and the assignments here and some of the question documents as well. What I need for you to do is each week check the announcements, check the main forum for the assignment corrections and clarifications. You could go through and save them all now, and then when you get to that week, you can go do them. You can't submit them early. In case anybody wants to know that, you cannot submit early. You would have to submit within that week. However, go through these and use them from here, because they will have information related to some changes, things that would make the assignment act a little better. Such like this. This is the diagram that I drew, and you can see like it has the port numbers, where the connectors are going from one switch to the next. It has the connectors. It also says this is the layout of what we're doing. We're using 2911 routers, 2960 switches, and this is how you connect them all. And what you're looking for are green dots, which are always good. Some of the red dots here, I'm assuming that's red. I'm half colorblind, so I don't know, but I'm assuming red means bad. So it means that there's something going on in that particular configuration where a port's turned off or something like that. And then again, this is directly related to ITT 270. So any other classes, you may disregard this at this point. But just want to let the ITT 270 students know that make sure you go out here and check out this. The corrected assignments, so that you're getting the right information. We've already talked about ITT 116 and 270 students that have to use Packet Tracer, how to get help with that. Like I said, just as a follow-up, you can do file save as, save the file, email it to me, and then I can open your Packet Tracer file on my machine, and look at your config and things like that. One thing to note, when you do a file save as, it does not actually say the config of your routers and switches. So what you need to do is you click on each router and go to the command line, make sure you're in enable mode, and then do a write mem. It says building configuration okay. You could also, from the config tab, you can do a save here, and it does the same thing. It's doing a copy run start, but it's the same thing as wrmem. So just do that before you save the Packet Tracer. Go in here, hit save. That writes the mem of the configuration to each device. Now you can do a file save as, send it to me, and then I can take a peek at it. Instructor communication. I reference this in all my welcome announcements. However, I want to make it clear that I do not get notified if you post into the individual forum or the questions to instructor forum or like the prayer forums that I create. So I don't want you to say tell you that you can't post there. I'm just saying you won't get as quick response as if you were as you would if you were to email me. So if you have something that you need something looked at quickly, or just a real quick say, hey, I'm running into this, whatever, send me an email. That is the single best way to communicate with me. I know I post in like my instructor bio here. I've got a phone number somewhere. May not be on this particular, oh, here it is. My phone number is this. I don't check that, or that's not kind of with me often, and really throughout the day I can't really answer it. So it's really, really best if you email me, and then that way I can get back to you when I can. Again, I have a full-time day job that some of the hours run over, so I want to make sure that we have good communication. Never feel that you can't reach out to me for something. I'm a very open, communicative person. Really easy on the grading, whatever. But email me or contact me anytime you need to, and we'll go from there. That kind of does lead into, we're kind of out of order here, but the virtual office hours on Tuesday evenings and Thursday evenings from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you understand there's a difference in time. It's not Mountain Standard Time. So 6:30 to 8 Central Time. I do host Zoom, office hours on Zoom. You can go to zoom.us, and then at the very bottom of the page, every page, there's a download and then meetings client. So what you want to do is download this, and it runs a little application like this, and then you would do a join, and then you would type in this number, this 332-819-6191. That is my permanent Zoom ID, and that will get you in there. You cannot join before 6:30 p.m. Central or whenever I actually start it. So sometimes I'm a minute or two over. I'm human, whatever. So just join that. The other thing is that this is I'm too cheap to pay the $15 a month for the professional version of Zoom. So I'm running just a free account. So if it's just a one-to-one, there's only one of us in there, through that entire session. It'll go however long it needs to. But if there's multiple people in there, there'll be a timer that starts, and at 40 minutes it'll disconnect the Zoom meeting, so I'll have to end it and restart it. So that happens, just so that you're aware. And the last item is the training instructional videos. This is a new agenda for myself, that I'm going to go through the steps of creating videos such as this. To add some instruction, additional training, tutoring, whatever, on tutorials on how to do certain things in the class. It's certain concepts that we cover in class. So keep an eye out in the main forum announcements area for those, and that'll be a good way for you to get extra help. So that's all I've got. I hope for a good next 7 weeks, and we hoping for good things. So that's all for me. I will see you next time.